Hello everyone, welcome to a video in which I actually talk for once. It's been a few videos since you've heard me talk, so you've all been spared that horror. Today I will be doing a sort of a look back Q&A, almost a podcast sort of thing, except I'm not doing them, on the Six Doctors. I put a video up about a week ago asking for you lot to submit questions. Got a few, not a lot of people, but a few questions. So I will be answering them for you now. There was one person who commented quite a lot, so I'll be doing his last, simply because I don't want to do all of his, and then it turns out, I only can do one or two of others. So the questions are in no particular order, it's just I'm scrolling through on my phone, and it's just how they come along. So, first question is from Tom the Dalek fan. Hi, Tom. What is your favourite part of the Six Doctors, and what is your favourite Dalek design? Favourite part of the Six Doctors, probably either the introduction or the end credits, because, they aren't mine. But, yeah, I liked the... what is it? The sort of like the continuity announcer. I'm not sure what you call it over there, because we don't have it here. We just sort of launch straight into the next program. But that bit with the my deepened voice, which was just done by slowing it down a bit. Next up, Colin Vicker and the Cybermen. So I like that. Animation wise, probably the bits in part 2 more, because they were filmed later on, they were edited later on, so I picked up a couple of tips and tricks along the way for that. So yeah, I'd have to say probably the last scene, just as an example. And favorite Dalek design, I'm not too sure. Favourite Dalek design would probably have to be the Death to the Daleks ones I like, but if it's a particular individual Dalek, then probably either the Special Weapons Dalek or the Dalek Supreme from Planet of the Daleks, or the gold Supreme Dalek from Day of the Daleks. I really like all the Pertwee Daleks. So they're probably my favourites. Next up, we've got JBC 101, who's got a few. One, why did you use the RTD Cybermen? I was wondering if someone would ask this. Because I didn't have enough Earthshock or Silver Nemesis. I didn't have enough era-appropriate Cybermen, and I got that 3-pack where you get like the chair thing as well, and I thought, alright, use that. I thought, better do that rather than forking out heaps of money and making it take even longer. So, simple budgetary and timing reasons. 2, what was the hardest part to film? Hardest part to film was actually a scene that didn't make it into it, which is a bit disappointing. But it's a bit where the doctors actually go into the building, like Doctors 2, 3 and 5 actually open the doors, and the second Doctor checks with his fancy device to see that the electricity's been disabled. And it was really hard to film because it was such a flimsy set. Like, the set that you saw, it wasn't 2D, it was actually designed to open, and I filmed it opening. It was the most difficult thing I did, and it just didn't work the way I'd done it, and there was lighting problems, things like that, so I thought, screw it, you get the general idea. And question 3, where is this story in all of the Doctors' timeline? The Doctors that were in the video. 3, 4... and 6, they all spent time without their companions. So 6, I'd say, sometime, I think it's like after the wrong Doctors, I think it is. That's a story with Melanie, Big Finish story. But yeah, after Perry, and before Evelyn. So probably those two, because he's still in his early costume, but it was the wrong waistcoat and cravat. So, but early in the Six Doctors timeline, once he's gotten rid of Perry. The 4th Doctor, probably because he doesn't have Kanon with him, does he? No. So that's probably between Deadly Assassin and the Face of Evil. And the third Doctor, that's between the Green Death and the Time Warrior, or possibly during any of the Pertwee era where his TARDIS is working. Because I'm sure he just had a case of Joe, you're busy, I'm just going to chuff off for a bit. The first Doctor, I'm not too sure if continuity allows it. I don't know of any case where he could have had time away from his companions, so First Doctor I'm not too sure, to be honest. That's a hard one. It could be something like a case like the Romans, where like Ian and Barbara were left back in their palace. Granted, they got caught up, but they were left, and he and Vicky buggered off. But it was like Vicky and Stephen were left somewhere, and he decided to check on the TARDIS and got caught up. I'm just making stuff up here, but First Doctor, no specific time. Second Doctor, again, he always had Jamie with him, so maybe Series 6B, if anyone knows about that. But yeah, I'm not too sure for the second Doctor either. And the fifth Doctor, apparently there was a time after the Awakening where Tegan and Turlough were back in I think it's little Hodgcombe, however you pronounce it, and he just left them there for a bit and went and did stuff like you saw, or rather heard, in the Omega Big Finish story. But yeah, the first Doctor, the first and second Doctors are the only ones I'm not too sure on. But yeah, so thanks for those questions. Owen Price, how do the Cybermen, fit into the narrative of the Cybermen's evolution? Oh, that's a good one. Basically, it's a case of, it's just future Cybermen. It's like what we saw in, for example, World Enough and Time and the Doctor Falls, except it's the opposite. Rather than the Doctor being the advanced one, the Cybermen being primitive, it's basically the Doctor being primitive and the Cybermen advanced, because that's one thing that, I'm glad that even if it's not entirely justified, things like The Magician's Apprentice and Witch's Familiar do, they don't have it strictly linear, and I like that. And expect more FAs like that as well, where, like 80s eras meets up with 60s eras, things like that. But their Cybermen evolution, it's, between, I think it's like the next Doctor, oh no, because that'd be different. But yeah, between the Age of Steel, before they get, because they've still got the C's on their chest, so any time before, I think a good man goes to war, maybe like during the Pandorica Opens time, but then it's what they're actually doing. So yeah, I'd say any time, like possibly during the Pandorica Opens, that period of cyber empire. Cool, thanks for that, Owen. The Good Dalek. Hello, Rusty. Did you change the script from the original script Miles gave you? No, I didn't. There were no actual rewrites of the script, things like that. I think it's a good script. I personally don't know why he doesn't like it. I think it's a simple script, and sometimes you just need that. You don't. I mean, for FAs especially, you just want something nice and simple. So yeah, I think it works. But no changes to the script whatsoever, as in line-wise, things like that. Yeah, I think the only changes were just, like I said, scenes omitted, things like that, because they just didn't work too well. Next up, guy calling himself Bruce Jenner. Can you use Comic Sans for the font in your videos? No, it's disgusting. And who do you believe is the hottest garlic? If you believe hottest Dalek, or if you mean hottest Dalek, got to be the Dalek Sec hybrid. So nice. And if you mean actual garlic, oh no, all garlic's the same, without being racist to garlics. Yeah, so garlic. Tanuki Billy, or Billy Howe. Oh no, never mind. Don't worry about that one. Type 40 FA. If you were to create your own TARDIS interior, what would it look like? My TARDIS interior, if I were to do it, would be very similar to the Eighth Doctor's one, but like plants, part of it, like organic, like an organic console, things like that, or maybe not an organic console, but like trees holding it up where those metal, I think they're like buttresses are, things like that. Yeah, it wouldn't be too much different to the Eighth Doctor's one, but, big and roomy is, I think, an accurate description of it. When given the script, did you try and stay true to what Cyberleader 1010 wanted to achieve with the project, or did you add some of your own bits? Like I said before, I didn't change the script. I think basically the only major change was the Cybermen, but even that wasn't originally intentional, so no. What next adventure will you have in store for us all? Ooh, very nice question. Well, I've got a series planned. Hopefully, that'll come out next year, which will be 3 episodes, all 4-parters. Revitalization of the Cybermen, the Island of Terror, and the Deserter, respectively, which will see the Third Doctor against the Tomb Cybermen, the Fourth Doctor and Sarah against the Sontarans, and the Sixth Doctor and Frobisher, not necessarily against, but in the same story as the Ice Warriors. So look out for those. I've also got some audios planned, like I've got one for Christmas. But yeah, you'll just get them as you get them. I'm hoping to get some mini-sodes out as well. There we go. Hope these questions are good enough, mate. Can't wait for the Q&A. Cheers very much. Jake Graham. Roughly how long does it take you to make each part? Well, I was just slack on it, to be honest. But I think the amount of time it took me in total would probably be like, if I were to just stick at it, probably 3 weeks. With sleep, food, an actual life, but if that was all I was doing when I got home, I'd say about 3 weeks for a 15-minute part. So I think that's about good. I usually spend about half a week building sets, things like that. Then there'd be, possibly customizing figures. Then you've got a bit of filming to do, and then the last few days spent on editing. And, depending on the story, editing isn't always that bad. So, I'd say about 3 weeks for each part. White Point Star Productions. Ooh. Do you think Jodie Whittaker FAs will take off quickly? Seeing as most of us are boys and we will not be able to voice her. No, I hope so. But I personally don't think they will take off quickly, especially because you've got all these stupid idiots who are, saying that they've ruined the show. No, they haven't. What do you want to improve most in your FA? Animation, definitely, because, this one was very bland for it. It was practically non-existent, despite what some people say there was actually some there. But yeah, I want to put animation, special effects, things like that. I'm hoping to put music in future ones as well. And if you had to pick your favourite performance in an FA, whose would it be, or best actor? Well, Christopher Thompson always does wonderful no matter what FA he's in. Credit goes to him. Of course, he was, obviously in this one. But, everyone's good, seriously, acting-wise, I haven't come across someone bad yet. So, granted, that's probably because, the producer doesn't want, people they don't like in it. But, I can't really pin it down to one person, so I'll say Christopher Thompson, because he puts up with a lot of our shit. He does. Good on him. Yeah. So, yeah, thanks for that. White Point Star. Next up, we've got E-Space Productions. What was the worst or best scene to shoot in the Six Doctors? Well, like I said, the worst was that one with the doors opening that I didn't include. Best one? The ones in the TARDIS were easy, so they were good. Possibly the ones in the quarry leading up to the doors, because they were easy as well. They were literally just moving them across a screen. Yeah, I think basically the control ones were mediocre, but basic bland scenes, that was about it. Yeah, there was no really best scene to shoot. But the scene I probably got the most enjoyment out of doing was the first time when the Doctors meet, or where all the Doctors meet. So 2, 4, 5, and 6 rescue 1 and 3, and it's just all of them together. It was like I'm handling figures, modelled on people that I've grown up and adored. It's nice. It's a nice experience, so to speak. But what was the most expensive thing in the Six Doctors? Definitely the Cyberman 3-pack, because that was about $100. I'm not sure what that is in pounds. Maybe about 45. I think £45. I'm not too sure. Yeah, that'd probably be it. Although, as far as a piece per amount, probably the TARDISes as well. But yeah, I think as far as a singular purchase, definitely the Cyberman 3-pack. Do you plan on adapting more cancelled stories in the future? Well, I don't know of any other cancelled stories. It's a possibility, but I do want to do my own content before I do another one. Mind you, in saying that, one of the audios I'm doing was a cancelled production, but it wasn't a cancelled FA. So, yeah, but if cancelled stories, yeah, cancelled FAs, not for a bit. Who's the best FA YouTube channel in your opinion? I don't want to pick favourites here, but for me it has to be Miles, because I strongly believe that he does the best FAs there. I mean, just look at his subscriber count. That's proof of the quality of work that he does. That's not to say, others don't put effort, things like that in, but it's... How can you argue with his success? Sorry, when it comes to it. And I mean, Essence of the Daleks, that's... For the amount of time it's been up, things like that, that's the most successful FA there is on YouTube. If you look it up and you go Doctor Who Figure Adventures and you go by view count, I think it's like the third option. When you look at I think it's the time for the other two, I think one of them's something. It's like 3 Paradigm Daleks looking at a TARDIS in someone's front yard. I think the other one is a bunch of Cybermen. But when you look at the time it's been up, it's what, a year and a half, and it's already reached, I think it's over 40,000 views. That's not bad. So it probably have to be his. Though personal favourites, other personal favourites are of course Batman March, White Point Star, probably Matt the Who editor. I really like the way he actually makes his figures run, which is good. DW to DWFA, Richard Lloyd. I mean, I could go on for hours, but if I had to count them on my hand, then that'd be them. And his last question is, what is your favourite Doctor Who story? Oh, I don't know if I can just nail it down to one, but I'll go Inferno. Gotta love Inferno. I won't give reasons why, because that's in a future video. I've got a few like top 10 stories and Doctors and Companions and whatnot ranked. But yeah, Inferno would probably have to be there. Though props also to The Visitation, Tomb of the Cybermen, and Pyramids of Mars, because I love them. Next up, from... where are we? Here we are. J. Dragonarch. Opinion of Delta and the Bannerman. Not seen the whole story, simply because I don't own it on DVD. I want to. it's not available here, not unless you buy it online. But from what I've seen of it, I wouldn't call it the best story out there. I wouldn't call it, the next Caves of Androzani, but it looks to be fun. And for me, sometimes, you want something to be fun more than you do quality. Like, I'll watch Horns of Nimon over Blink any day. So I look forward to seeing it. Where are we? Where are we? Next up, Henry Dudester. Cinders and Ashes, as many as we like. Yes, as many questions as you like. Number 1. He's got, how many? Geez, he's got 12 here. Number 1. Colin Baker sandwiches or Peter Capaldi sushi? Has to be Colin Baker sandwiches. I mean, Colin's my favourite doctor. God bless you, Colin. And I mean, I love sandwiches more than I do sushi. Especially because nothing is better than a sandwich. You think like roast chicken and caviar and the finest rosé wine, stick 2 pieces of bread on top of it. Heck, you've just made yourself a sandwich. It's like, it's the food equivalent of think of the biggest number that you can and then add 1. But the adding 1 is turning it into a sandwich. That's my logic, so has to be Colin Baker sandwiches. What would you think of a Doctor Who anime where they animate the first 4 8th Doctor Big Finish stories with Charlie Pollard for like CBBC or just to be released on DVD? I think Big Finish is suitable as an audio because they're written as audios. I think probably Fallen Angels or the other like Doom Coalition Weeping Angel stories are the best example of that, because they're written describing what the angels would do. If you had it visualized, it probably wouldn't work as well. So I think audio isn't something that you should completely like. Sure, snippets, things like that. Like I saw someone do a very good spare parts scene recreation, which was just of the Cybermen, and that was good. But no, I don't think it would work all that well. Do you like Big Finish? Heck yes, I do. If so, which ones do you like the most? Oh, dearie me. I'm not too sure I can pin it down to one. I'd have to put my first one in there, Jubilee. That's brilliant. Spare Parts, of course. The Holy Terror, that's brilliant. But I also like, there's 2 short stories I like. I think one of them's To Cut a Blade of Grass. I can't remember the other one. They're both Colin Baker stories, but they make you feel really good about yourself afterwards. Like you think, I'm completely pointless, I'm worthless, if I never existed, nothing would happen. Which I do feel, because, I've got depression. So that pops up every now and then, just as a thought. But no, they really do make you feel good about yourself. Oh, and how to win planets and influence people. That's a recent Short Trips. That's also brilliant. And also 1963 Fanfare for the Common Man. That's great because I love the Beatles. So that's really good. 4. Have you met any of the Doctor Who cast, i.e. Paul McGann, Sophie Aldred or Colin Back? I think you mean Colin Baker. And or any YouTubes, i.e. Batman March, Epic Who or Henry Dudes. Oh, yourself. Not to sound dickish, but you have met Batman March and Paul McGann on the same day, you lucky sod. I have a video about it on my YouTube channel. Yeah, I think I've seen that video. YouTubers? No, I haven't met any. I think there's only 1 or 2 that are actually in Australia, and I've never been to England. I want to go, but I've never been. And the 2 that are down here, I think they're in Sydney. So no, I haven't met any YouTubers. Doctor Who cast, though, yes. I met Sylvester McCoy about a fortnight ago, or no, 3 weeks ago now. I've met John Leeson, voice of K9. I've met John Barrowman, good old Captain Jack Harkness. Jenna Coleman, Clara Oswin, Osgood, Osbad, Oswald. I've met Sandra Reid, who designed the 10th Planet Cyberman costumes. And my absolute favourite would have to be Richard Franklin, Captain Mikey Yates from the Third Doctor era, simply because I went to get his autograph at a convention. There was no one standing behind me in line, so I was able to talk to him for like 10-15 minutes, when usually it's only a couple of seconds. And, that was one of the best experiences I will ever have. Yeah, so I've met a few. 5, do you go to Comic-Con? Yeah, not San Diego Comic-Con, but we have Comic-Con and other similar conventions here. If so, are you going to London Film and Comic-Con in Olympia? Well, I'm not in London, so that might be a tad difficult for me to, but, I might try and walk there, you know. 6, do you like anime or manga? Nah, not really. What would you have for a Doctor Who spin-off? Well, I would love for the scrapped Dalek TV series that was intended for the 60s to be done, but seeing as I'm doing that as an audio, yep, shock, surprise, horror, other words, yeah, I'm doing that as an audio, but other spin-offs, I don't know, I can't think of anything. I think, like Cyberman series would be good. Maybe introduce us to some new era Cyberman. Get the Dark Dimensions Cyberman out. That'd be cool. Class Series 2 would be nice, because I actually liked that. But yeah, spin-offs, nah. No, I'm not really good at thinking of them. Yeah. Maybe a unit spin-off. That'd be good, like what Big Finish are actually doing as audios. That'd be nice. Question 8. Will you do a Torchwood FA? Possibly. I was going to do one, but that was with a couple of other people, and we had disagreements within people within that particular group, so that fell through. But I might do one. I don't have any Torchwood figures, except for Captain Jackpot. I turned him into a Sergeant Benton. But, maybe one day. I'm more interested in the classic Who era, so I doubt it. But, it's not impossible. Are you a PS4 or Xbox One? PS4, I don't have an Xbox One. If so, what is your gamer tag? I don't know. I don't really go online. I don't even know if I have one. But if I do, I might comment it. Maybe. Do you read? I should hope so. Have you read any of the Sherlock Holmes books? No, I've got one. I just haven't read one yet. If you mean like the proper Arthur Conan Doyle, no, I haven't read it yet. Question 11. Who am I? I don't know. Next up, we have a question from... several questions from Scorosian Filmmaker. Were there any scenes you had to cut from the final version of The Six Doctors? Like I said, there was the one with the doors. I think that was the only one that was actually fully cut. There were some that were just trimmed down because they, had stuff that didn't need to be in there, things like that, but that was the only one that was fully cut. And have you got any other figure adventures planned? Yes, I do. Hoovy Vortex asks, do you like jazz? Yeah, fam, it's pretty cool music. And David Knight has a few as well. If you could travel to any point in time, where would you go and why? The 23rd of November 1963. Fairly obvious why, I'd probably record all the missing episodes. Plus, I'd probably be able to see my grandfather one last time, which would be good. I'd like to do that. Would you ever do a sequel, or is this it for your multi-Doctor FA? If you mean for the Six Doctors specifically, yeah, that's it. A sequel doesn't really work for it. I mean, if anything, Attack of the Cybermen is its sequel, so that sort of does the job. I might reference it in future FAs, but there's no real sequel for it. And I think that's... I know he's got a few more. What was the first and most recent classic Doctor Who story you saw? Most recent was, I think, probably The Monster of Paladon, because I was doing a whole Ice Warrior rewatch before The Empress of Mars came out. And the first one was Genesis of the Daleks, which I walked in the lounge room where it was playing accidentally. So, probably one of the best introductions you can have to Doctor Who. Was it filmed chronologically? No. I filmed the sets as they came up in the script. So the TARDIS was the first one in the script, so I filmed all the TARDIS scenes. Then it was like just random cyber rooms, so I filmed all them. But as far as scene by scene, no, I didn't. That would have just been a waste of time. Where did the idea of making the Six Doctors originate? Not too sure. I think I just saw Miles' video and I thought, why not try making that? I had some of the figures already and I thought, it might get me a bit of a boost into the FA community, which it has. So, yeah, I'd probably put it down to that. What was the easiest and most difficult shot in the entire story? Like I said, most difficult was the one with the door in the quarry. Easiest, probably the TARDIS, because it was such a simple set, and it was just moving Colin around here and there, things like that. And that is it from David Knight, and now we've just got quite a few from Erlen Voden, who helps to run the Things Web site. So his first question: what was the funnest part about making the FA? Probably uploading it, because it meant I was finally done with the bloody thing. But funnest would probably have to be, aside from that, actually no, yeah, that would probably be it. Uploading it, because then the wonderful reaction I got to it, even though it is terrible. Next, who was your main inspiration? My guess would be Cyberleader 1010. Your guess was correct, although the person who inspired me, or people who inspired me to get into FA filming in the first place, were Sea Devil Lagoon and Mr. Harrison Chase. They both do like smaller scale FAs, things like that, but they're both brilliant, and they were the first ones I saw. What's your favourite Beatles song? Sorry, I'm just desperate to know. Possibly Help, A Hard Day's Night, Benefit of Mr. Kite, A Day in the Life. Although She's Leaving Home is also very, very good. Do you think it's harder to make an FA if there isn't a companion? No, I think it's easier, because most of the time the companion is a female, and female voices are difficult to come by, because so many of us are just males. Yeah, so no, I think it's easier if there isn't a companion. So what's next in chronological order? It'd have to be the revitalisation of the Cyberman project, although that'll probably be out next year. So I'm thinking Midnight Star, my Christmas special, audio, which will be out Christmas. That's probably next. As far as like adventures go, I mean, I might do, just more recording videos like top 10 lists, things like that. Did you change anything from the original script? No. What do you think is the most important thing about FAs? Putting effort into it. Not necessarily having the quality brilliant, but just the fact that you're putting effort into it. That's the best thing you can do about it, to take pride in your work. Do you think FA should be split into two? Depends on the script. Like this one, it had in the script, Miles put in the script, cliffhanger here if necessary, where the cliffhanger actually was. But, I wasn't intending I was hoping that it would be just a single project, but if the script works with it, being split into a two-parter, maybe, but most of the time, no. Is it difficult to get figures in Australia? Yes, because not enough people care about Doctor Who here, and it's bloody annoying. What do you think of the new Doctor? I haven't seen Jodie Whittaker in anything, so I can't give my opinion on her being cast, but the idea of a female Doctor, I think it's good, something different, and I'm glad they went all in and went female, not just, different sexuality or different ethnicity and, slowly introduced it, they went, full on, and it's almost like they rooted out the people who aren't actually fans because, they were just watching it because it's a male. So I think it's a good idea. What is your best set? If you mean from the building set I made, probably the TARDIS, because the design was already there. And it's not something I had any part in actually designing. It was already done for me, so that was very good. Do you think the FA would have worked with a different selection of doctors, and if so, who? No, I think Doctors 1 to 6 would have been best because the script was almost like an adapted 20th anniversary script from the Five Doctors, so I think, the first 6, were the only ones that would have worked with it. But if I had to choose different ones, then I think... excuse me. I'm not too sure. I'm honestly not too sure. Where are we? There we are. What do you think is yet to be done in the FA universe? Diversity. Like, granted, it'll help when we've got 13th Doctor figures and then, spotty teenage boys trying to voice her, as people have brought up. But no, I don't think we have diversity. We don't have real-world issues. FAs are very light. They're very light-hearted. We don't have, people with mental illnesses. We don't have people suffering real-world trauma. We don't have proper death, things like that. Everything's all After Effects with fancy laser bolts. You don't see anyone getting stabbed, which I'm hoping to rectify. I really want to do that. I want to actually make possibly controversial FAs, but, hoping they'll be good. What 5 figures do you want most released, or do you want to... Which 5 figures do you most want to be released? Nardole, and Nardole. Nardole aside, the Wheel in Space Cyberman and Attack of the Cybermen Cyber Controller, they'd be nice. A Pteroleptal would be good. And probably a Vord. A Vord would be cool. Can you do a guide to your Cyberman voices? Yeah, if people watch it, I'd probably do one. I might just do a compilation one, because I can do most of the Cyberman voices, and I'm getting technology soon that will allow me to be able to do all of them. So yeah, I can just do like a compilation of how to do them all. Are there audio or visual bloopers? Nope. How often do you hope your upcoming FAs will come out in terms of time? Well, I'm hoping, rather than, with this one, I upload it and I say it comes out next week, I want to get them done. Just get them all finished and everything, and then just upload them 1 week at a time. Or, if I've got something like 12 episodes, I release episode 1, I might still be finishing editing, 10, 11, and 12, but I want to have, several of them ready at once so I can put them up. So yeah, hopefully a week apart, things like that. But the distance or the length of time between those groups, I've no idea. What's the hardest aspect of TV to get into an FA, e.g. comedy, action? Probably action. Because comedy, things like that, like Rebel Hoovian's recent Planet of the Zygons FA was quite funny, and that was purely voice work. But action's difficult because, you're just doing stop motion with toys. It's difficult to incorporate. Will you make a DVD of the Six Doctors similarly to Richard Lloyd? I have done so. I might put it up on DeviantArt, link it in the description, something like that. If you're sad enough that you want to print one out yourself. What's your favourite Colin Baker story? It'd probably have to be Vengeance on Barrows. Although there isn't really a Colin story that I don't like. But yeah, Vengeance on Varos is probably my favourite of his. Do you like Perry? Yeah, she's good. What outfit should Whitaker have? Can you have a picture? Because you know my artistic talents are infinite. No, you can't have a picture because that is not true. My artistic talents are not infinite. And what outfit should Whitaker have? I think maybe like a 20s style look, because that's when women were starting to come into prominence on the world stage. So I think it'd be good, sort of like a subtle jab at all the people saying that a woman can't be the Doctor. Although Torchwood Invasion is cancelled, would you consider still doing a different Torchwood FA? For those who don't know, myself, Erland, and someone else were working on a Torchwood FA, but there was a falling out between us, and it's no longer happening. Would I still do a Torchwood FA? Maybe, I don't know. I'd probably do a class FA before I did a Torchwood one, to be honest. Have you considered adapting The Hunter's Man? No, I haven't. Mostly because I don't have any of the multiverse figures. I don't even have the bases for the figures. I'd have to get those people to do that. There's just too much. And plus, I'm a small-time guy. I'd like to be bigger, but, I'm not recognised as much as other people are, so I don't think I'd be worthy of it, so to speak. What's your favourite not titled Doctor Who song? Yeah? I think you're asking what's your favourite piece of music that's not the title theme from Doctor Who, in which case it'd be probably Lytton's theme from Attack of the Cybermen. No, it'd probably have to be the City of Death, where they're running through Paris. That's good. I'm very disappointed that was never released on DVD. The one soundtrack they should have put on DVD and they didn't. Bloody hell. So yeah, I'll say that, the City of Death theme. Which channel will FAFTAs be uploaded to? Probably White Point Stars. Top 5 Big Finish. I think I answered this in an earlier question, but probably 1963 Fanfare for the Common Man, Jubilee, Spare Parts, probably To Cut a Blade of Grass, that's a really nice short story, and How to Win Planets and Influence People. Because if you haven't heard that one, it's very good. It's delivered like you would hear a university lecture, something like that. It's very well done. How much did it cost overall? Well, the Cyberman, I'm counting in Australian dollars here, the Cyberman 3-pack was 100, the TARDIS was 50, each of the Doctors, or the first, third, and fifth Doctors were all $20 each, so that's $210. The second Doctor came in the Doctor Dalek 2-pack, so that's $260, and I got Colin as a birthday present, so that leaves Tom, and he came in the City of Death pack, which was $80, so that's $260, so that's $340. I think that's around about 200 pounds, I think, for all the figures in total. Why did it take so long? Get stuffed. Because I'm lazy. There we are. There's your answer. Which upcoming DWFA are you most excited for? Probably The Deserter. I'm really looking forward to having the Sixth Doctor and Frobisher together, plus Ice Warriors. But I mean also bringing Pertwee and the Cybermen together, which they should have done. I'd never understood why they didn't do it, because, a technological enemy and probably the most technological Doctor you've got, they would have been perfect. I can just imagine Pertwee, I'm going to reverse the polarity of the neutron flow on the Cybermen. Which figures did you already have pre-filming? The second, third, fifth, sixth. Yeah, the first, so second, third, fifth, and sixth Doctors. The fourth Doctor I had, but I swapped into the City of Death one, and the first Doctor I got later on, and the Cybermen I got later on. let's see, what else has he asked? What was the first scene you filmed? The ones with the TARDIS. Can you show us your favourite piece of artwork you have ever done, apart from the picture of you, of course? I don't do artwork. I don't really do artwork that much. I mean, you can check out my Twitter if you want, but I don't really have a favourite. If you had to pick, who's your doctor? Colin. Lovely, lovely Colin. Did eSpace make your thumbnails? Yes, he did. The image you see in front of you is eSpace Productions, and eSpace Productions, the wonderful, wonderful John Foreman, has also done thumbnails for my upcoming FAs, and he's done images for so many other people. So, big shout out to him. Thank you very much. You're too kind, man. Are you going to buy the upcoming figure sets? If you mean the 3-packs, I'll probably get the monster one, more for the Cyberman, the attack Cyberman than anything else. I mean, I might customise the controller, and the Sontaran might be useful for army building. I'm not getting the 9th Doctor set because I can get the Autons individually. I've already got a 9th Doctor, and the Rose is the crappy Dalek Battle Pack one. And the 4th Doctor one, I've got Tom, I've got Leela. I'm not spending $70 just to get K9. Have you considered making your own music to avoid copyright? Yes, I have. It didn't go anywhere, but I thought about doing it. Why is everyone talking about Colin Baker sandwiches? I don't know, don't ask me. Top 3 companions, and if none of them are New Who, then favourite New Who companion 2. Top 3 companions would have to be Brigadier, I think Romana 1, and probably Jamie McCrimmon, although Ace 2. Alright, and favourite New Who companion? Nardole, obviously, though Martha does come close behind. Have you considered adapting a Big Finish story to FA? No, I've considered doing minor scene recreations, but not a whole adaptation. Because like I mentioned before, Big Finish, they're written specifically for audio. They're not written so you can stick visuals on them, or if they do, then they'd have to be incredibly simplistic, like telesnap recreations. I just don't think an entire visual adaptation would work all that well. Have you watched the IT Crowd? Yes, and I love it. I've got a t-shirt of it. What's your favourite insult? Ham-fisted bun vendor is always good. Good old Terror of the Autons. Favourite insult, though? Ooh. Dick waffle is always good. Turd burglar. And God love good old Monty Python's your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries. Yeah. And that's it from Erland, and that means that is it from all of you. Thank you for watching this and sitting through the whole thing if you have. It's basically turned into a pod, because I'm not editing this. You're going to have to put up with all my ums and ahs, or you have put up with all my ums and ahs. So if you're interested in hearing me say and ah and possibly swearing a lot more, just mention, do this more, and if I can be bothered, I'll do it more. But yeah, thank you all for watching this and getting to this point if you haven't lost your sanity. Thank you all to those who left their questions, and thank you to everyone who has commented, liked, shared, subscribed, even just watched the 6 Doctors. It's been a wonderful experience. Granted, I know I've said I'm glad to be rid of it and that the end result was terrible, but it's been wonderful, and I look forward to bringing you all more entertainment, hopefully better quality entertainment in future. I'll probably be doing some top 10 lists and some discussion videos. I've got some planned, top 10 doctors, enemies, companions, and I've got some discussions involving the Cybermen, the Vord, the Horns of Nymon, and historical stories. But until then, I might be on hiatus because I've just started back at school again. But thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. I check it every day, and even when it goes up just by one, it means a lot. So thank you everyone. I hope you enjoyed, and until then, goodbye.